And it's that sometimes when we feel like we've done everything, perhaps the time has come to do nothing, truly. Today, I'm going to talk to you about something simple, because the mechanism itself is simple, but I want to explain a bit of the psychology behind it. What is hidden behind it? Because believe me, in practice, almost no one uses it. We are too reluctant, truly. Why? Because we justify the investment, and we trap ourselves with our own investment. We become slaves. We cling on our own to what we have put so much effort into. And this again is really a normal psychological mechanism. That is to say, I know, for example, a person, maybe they suit me, maybe they don't, maybe we share more, maybe less, maybe we enter a situation. The point is that if there is an imbalance or this person doesn't end up wanting exactly the same as we do or directly doesn't want the same as we do, and we don't feel ready to accept their rejection, right? We feel reluctant. What do? Well, we try to change the situation. How? By making efforts on our part, right? I make an attempt to propose something to you, maybe post directly, or to make you like me more. I try to do everything that brings me closer to you, everything that shortens the distance, everything that I feel can help. You like me. And sometimes I also settle for what I don't want because I feel it brings me closer to you. That is, even if you deny me a relationship, but we do meet at a party and I can go home with you to be intimate, or when you suggest meeting up, we see each other, or when you want to chat, well, we talk. That is, I put myself in a situation that is not what I want, but I accept it because I feel it brings me closer to my goal. We also mentally attribute all this. We categorize it as an effort, right? Because in the end, it's a situation that doesn't do us any good, but we take it on in the hope that it will lead us to what we really want, right? The more effort I make and the longer I stay in a situation trusting that it will take me where I want to go, the more I justify all this, the more emotional weight I give it, and the more reluctant I am to leave. Instead of creating from the outside, right? Maybe we go and ask a good friend or a family member for advice. We explain that we're having a hard time, right? And that person justifies the time in reverse. They don't understand it. It's like they say, let's see, don't you realize that if maybe you've been, let's say 8 months, right? Knowing this person and you're still not a couple and nothing changes. And if it changes, sometimes it gets worse, which holds you back. Why don't you wake up and leave? Well, precisely what holds you back the most are those 8 months invested. Every time you've been depressed because of this person. Every time, instead of throwing in the towel, you had the option to choose and you chose to fight for it, that you wanted to achieve it every time you've made a new attempt. All of that has glued you to the person and you have become a slave, as I say, to your own investment. So we are very reluctant to want to let it go. The more we have invested, the more reluctant we are. And moreover, over time, we completely lose hope that withdrawing will serve us any purpose. Why? Because it's like, let's see, if I've been at it for 8 months, I repeat, I say 8 months as one might say 6 or 2 or even 2 years. The point is that if I've been trying everything for a while and it's not working, and this person on the contrary usually puts in less and less effort, if I let go, this stays here. I mean, we see it very clearly. We consider that the other person is not going to make any effort. So, of course, we have even less desire to leave, right? Because it's like, okay, it's putting an end to it. We don't want that. So we usually prolong the situation, either until it really becomes unsustainable, because perhaps by then we are practically receiving nothing from the other person. Or because the other person puts a stop to it. Maybe that person meets someone, gets into a relationship, and wants to let this go, right? Or as I say, it makes it very difficult for us to continue, right? And by letting it go, in addition, we usually have, due to all that emotional burden, a need for closure. And besides a very inconvenient closure, a closure in which I still want you to know that all of this matters to me. I want you to know that my doors are open if you change your mind. I want you to be aware because of why I'm leaving, how I feel, all the pain I'm experiencing. And all of this, in terms of how our mind works, is very normal. But in the end, we are missing out on a twist that we could give to all of this, which could lead to a quite interesting change in this situation. Even, and I'm not just saying this, a role reversal. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. And I encourage you that instead of trying to squeeze this until you practically feel like you've run out of options, or that this person, let's say, invites you to leave their life, or that there's truly nothing left, I recommend that before that, even if things are very unbalanced, it doesn't matter, just disappear. Like that, without prior notice, without saying a word. Disappear. But truly disappear. I mean, when I talk about disappearing, hold on, let me explain, in case they censor my video. Not disappearing as in you disappearing from life, obviously, but from this person's life in every aspect. Really make a smoke bomb, and from then on, don't contact them. Don't look for them. Don't ask others about that person. Don't appear in their stories on social media. In fact, if you can temporarily disappear or block this person or even take a break from social media, even better. That is, the more you go from being present to completely absent, the greater that contrast, the better. And as I say, the most important thing here is not to give any kind of explanation or justification, so that when this person realizes you're no longer there, they don't understand what's happening. Because not understanding what's happening, what your motivation was, why you suddenly disappear without warning, doesn't fit at all with what they know about you. Because what this person knows about you is that you're quite attached and that you're quite unconditional, and they know they can count on your affection and care. They've also seen that you're someone who can't help but always find some excuse to reach out. You can't help it if they give you news. To be there, that person is aware of all that, right? Sometimes we think they don't know, but yes, they do know, right? What they don't think or see you as capable of is suddenly disappearing without any explanation. And in fact, if this person looks for you, right? Especially if they look for you in a short period of time, right? Hey, are you okay since I haven't heard from you? Obviously, they don't see you as capable of ignoring a message, right? All of that. And in this case, if you can't avoid it, block them, right? And if you see that otherwise, you won't have the willpower. But in this case, I think it's even better not to block. Because let's say that mental gap widens even more when we don't understand also, hey, because if I block, well, I might come to the conclusion of, okay, you're communicating to me by blocking that you want to leave this as it is. But if I don't even block, it's like you're not even communicating with actions what you haven't told me with words, right? And more, I still don't fully understand what's happening. And what initially is a lack of understanding, a surprise, and I didn't expect this from you, over time becomes something very curious. And it's truly that to a certain extent what this person experiences, paradoxical as it may be, is that now you are rejecting them. In some way, we could say that this is like returning their rejection. And humans don't like to feel rejected. Not just you, that person doesn't either. In fact, many times we are not aware and we believe we act in favor of the feeling, right? That is, I seek out this person because of how much they matter to me, because of how much I like them, because I love them. And really, what actually drives you to act is the rejection from this person, feeling rejected, wanting to stop feeling that way. The need, well, somehow, I want this person to give me a certain degree of approval because then I no longer feel that discomfort, that unease that rejection causes me. While you are there, trying, pursuing, giving, that person is obviously never going to experience that. It will always be, I reject you, you and I are not together because I don't want to, and so on. The moment you disappear just like that, and you don't allow that part, you have to understand. This is very difficult for us, I understand, right? That is to say, if I leave a place believing that things will stay here, because no matter how much I tell you, in the end, no one believes blindly, and it's good that you have your own judgment, right? So I know that you might say tomorrow, okay, it's over. Among other things, because I am tired, exhausted, fed up with feeling this way, feeling like I never achieve what I want, that my hopes are frustrated time and again, right? So maybe tomorrow I'll listen to Amanda and disappear. So I know that you think this person, no matter how much I tell you that this can change a lot and will change, might reach out to you, You don't believe it. So when this person actually does it, the surprise is so great, the high is so intense, the well-being of feeling a bit of approval coming your way, that in the end, it's very complicated to fulfill that other part, which is also important for the person to end up feeling rejected. Because at the beginning, when they reach out to you, yes, they often don't understand what's happening. It's like, okay, something is going on. This person is no longer around. This person has disappeared, right? They have noticed your absence. And they will especially notice it if you also accompany it with what I have explained so many times on the channel. But in case this is the first time you're watching me, if you truly make that effort to regain your energy, to focus on yourself, to put your mind on you, on your things, not letting your thoughts constantly drift to what this person might be thinking. How are they experiencing it? Have they realized it yet? Will they look for me? Will they not look for me? Don't worry, right? But indeed, when this person realizes it, often the first thing they feel is curiosity or a desire not to feel this. Slight rejection they are experiencing and wanting to correct the situation with little effort. To have everything returned to how it should be as it is in their mind. You unconditionally behind there, right? So of course, if when they look for you, when they do something to make everything return to normal, you get so excited that you can't help but react as this person expects we haven't achieved anything, right? You have to understand that in cases of extreme imbalance, that is, of course, it depends on your situation. If we talk about that small balance, this time it is remedied without even having to disappear. By focusing more on yourself, not being so attentive, giving some space, it is corrected. However, extreme situations require more extreme measures. That is, if this is very unbalanced and you have been in something very unbalanced for a while, it's not enough for you to disappear, and when this person notices and looks for you, you just go back to being there. No. We have to put more effort into it. Why? Because it is important to provoke that role change so that the person truly wants to take more action, to also experience rejection. And for that, you need to have the courage to ignore when their curiosity leads them to contact you. That is, it's your way of showing them through actions what you haven't said with words, which is, that's it, I no longer want this. Because the moment you ignore them, you convey that I no longer want this. I'm not even willing to give you an explanation. And that indifference, that transition from being there, dying for the person, to being able to ignore them, which is not easy, which is very complicated. It is precisely that indifference that causes this, making the person experience rejection, feel the discomfort of rejection. And that discomfort leads us to act, makes us want to seek approval from the other person, makes us want to understand, makes us, if we have been underestimating the person, completely change the image we have, right? It leads us to take action, and that's what you want. After having done everything you could, well, the doing is over. It's your turn to do nothing and allow yourself to see what that person can actually do for you. Because you will be surprised in many cases by how much this person can actually do in the end, that they are not incapable, that they know, that they do know how to talk about what they feel, that they do know how to reach out, that they know how to persist. Believe me, all of this can surprise you, but it does happen. But for that, you have to allow them to act. You have to give time. You have to be patient. You have to be committed to a result and not accept less. That is to say, I leave and I imagine what I would need to see from the other person to truly feel that I matter, that they are in tune with me, that something could come from this that makes me happy, that satisfies me emotionally, right? And until I see that there is that predisposition, I keep myself distant. I don't say a single word. I disappear and truly let it be. If you do this well, in many cases, the situation can completely change. Truly it can. Well, I hope this video is helpful to you and that you liked it. If so, and you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, of course, I invite you to do so and hit the bell because I would love for us to see each other again very soon. And until then, as always, I send you a big kiss.